let's consider this question on the blackboard. This chemistry question is from Wassce 2023. We are to answer two parts. The first part is Roman 1 and the second part is Roman 2. The first part says, explain briefly each of the following terms. A. Limiting reagent. B. Excess reagent. Now, what is limiting reagent? Limiting reagent, this is a reactant that is first used up in a chemical reaction. While excess reagent, this is a reactant that is left unused after the reaction comes to an end. Now, for instance, an engineer was provided 100 bags of cement to construct a bridge. Upon constructing the bridge, the engineer only used 50 bags of cement. Therefore, the bags of cement that the engineer used are called the limiting reagent, whilst the bags of cement that are left unused are called the excess reagent. So this is how we explain limiting and excess reagent. Next up, we move on to Roman 2, which is the second part of this question, which says if 6.37 grams of ammonia is allowed to react with 11.4 grams of carbon dioxide, which reactant is limiting and excess? Given the reaction below and the molar mass of each of the following elements present in the compound. Now, in limiting and excess reagent, we need to consider the reactant side. We only consider the reactant side. Now, in limiting and excess reagent, there are two methods involved. We have the what? The reacting mass method and that of what? The mole concept method. So therefore, we are going to apply the reacting mass method. And by applying the reacting mass method, we are going to find the reacting mass method of the following reactant. Now, let's find the reacting mass method of ammonia. For ammonia, we say 2 into the molar mass of nitrogen is 14 plus 3 multiplied by the molar mass of hydrogen, which is 1. We move on to carbon dioxide. 1 into, this one is what? Is the coefficient of this compound. 1 into the molar mass of carbon is 12 plus 2 into the molar mass of oxygen, which is 16. Now, 2 into 14 plus 3 times 1. Now, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 14 gives me 17. Now, 1 into 12 plus 2 multiplied by 16. 2 multiplied by 16 is 32. 32 plus 12 is 44. Now, 2 multiplied by 17. 2 multiplied by 17. 34 grams. Now 1 multiplied by 44 is 44 grams. So this 34 grams is the reacting mass of ammonia, while this 44 grams is the reacting mass of carbon dioxide. Now, from the question, we are given the masses of each of the following compounds. The mass of ammonia is 6.37 grams, and also the mass of carbon dioxide is 11.4 grams. So therefore, the mass of ammonia is what? 6.37 grams. And the mass of carbon dioxide is what? 11.4 grams. Now, we are about to find which reactant is limiting and excess. Now, for us to find which reactant is limiting and excess, we are going to let one of these masses be X. I mean, the masses given from the question. We are going to let the masses given from the question, one of the masses given from the question, be X. Therefore, as for me, I'm going to let the mass of carbon dioxide be X. If you want, you can let the mass of ammonia be X. Therefore, as for me, I'm going to say 34 grams of ammonia gives me 44 grams of carbon dioxide. Next up, 6.37 grams of ammonia gives me X gram of carbon dioxide. we cross multiply. Now 34 gram multiplied by x gram of carbon 4 oxide is equal to 44 multiplied by 6.37 gram. Now I want to make x gram of ammonia, sorry, x gram of carbon 4 oxide the subject. I will have to divide both sides by 34 gram. 34 gram here, 34 gram here. So therefore 34 cancel 34. So now I'll be having x gram of carbon 4 oxide equal to 44 multiplied by 6.37 gram gives me 280.28, all divided by 34. Therefore x gram of carbon 4 oxide is equal to this divided by 34 is equal to 8.24 gram. So now this is the mass of carbon 4 oxide. Therefore this mass of carbon 4 oxide is called x gram of carbon 4 oxide is equal to 8.24 gram. This mass is called what? The mass required, or we say the mass needed. The mass needed. Now, while the 11.4 gram of carbon 4 oxide given from the question is the mass given. So 11.4 gram is equal to was given. This is the mass given from the question. Now we are about to find which reactant is limiting and excess. Now you need 8.24 gram to react with. You need 8.24 gram of carbon 4 oxide to react with ammonia, but they gave you 11.4 gram to react with ammonia. Therefore, the mass that is given to you is more than the one that you need. So therefore, you are given an excess mass to react with ammonia. Let's listen again. Now, you need 8.24 gram of carbon 4 oxide to react with ammonia, but they gave you 11.4 gram of carbon 4 oxide to react with ammonia. Therefore, the mass that was given to you is more than the mass that you need. And whenever the mass that was given to you is more than the mass that you need, so therefore, that particular compound is said to be what? Excess. Mind you, because why? The mass that was given to you is excess. It's more than the mass that you need. So, carbon 4 oxide is said to be what? The excess reagent, while ammonia is said to be the limiting reagent. Now, let's take this one in lewens. For instance, I was given 11.4 lewens to purchase a textbook, but I need 8.24 lewens to purchase a textbook. Therefore, the money that was given to me is excess. So therefore, carbon 4 oxide is said to be what? The excess reagent. Whenever the mass that was given to you from the question is more than the mass that you need, in brackets, the mass that you are going to find. The mass that you need is what? Is the mass that you are going to find. So therefore, carbon 4 oxide is said to be what? The excess reagent, while ammonia is said to be what? The limiting reagent. Whenever one is said to be excess, the other will be what? Limiting. When one is said to be limiting, the other will be what? Excess. So this is how limiting and excess reagent works. So therefore, the excess reagent is what? Carbon 4 oxide, while the limiting reagent is what? Is ammonia. Why carbon 4 oxide is said to be the excess reagent? Because the gram that was given to you to react with ammonia is more than the one that you need. So therefore, the gram is excess, the mass is excess. So therefore, carbon 4 oxide is said to be what? The excess reagent. Now, for you to get more understanding on limiting and excess reagent, you can go to my channel at Wassce Academy, where you will see full video on limiting and excess reagent.